Hello friends, and welcome back to my channel. Today we are documenting day 12, but it is going in my day 11 spot because if you watched my video yesterday, you would have seen that I made a bit of an error, and I thought that yesterday was the 12th when yesterday was actually the 11th. So I'm just doing a switcheroo, which I'm okay with because I am telling 25 stories and not really documenting 25 days. I feel like I would be remiss if I don't give you guys a bit of a warning. Today's story is not a fun one. I'm going to be talking about and documenting grief and documenting loss. So if that's triggering for you, or if you don't have like the mental space to deal with that right now, then I will not, like, my feelings will not be hurt if you have to prioritize self-care and, you know, watch this later or just choose not to watch this at all. A few people have messaged me directly and told me that they were dealing with some rough things this holiday season and that, you know, this channel brings them a lot of joy. And while this project is a project full of joy for me, it is also real, and it is a very real reflection of what my life looks like right now. And today was a hard day. And so I'll talk you through, you know, what I'm talking about and what I'm documenting as I go. But I think I would be remiss if I didn't stop in the beginning and say, hey, you guys, this might not be a super fun one, and I might not be like super happy because it's a hard story to tell. It's a story worth telling, but it is a hard story to tell. So I don't know if you can see them, but I have my reindeer antlers on. They're like my magic talisman to get me through this video. And I thought I was gonna cry on day 7. I will 100% cry today when I read my journaling at the end. I've read my journaling out loud to a few people, and I have yet to been able to get through it without crying. So I'm gonna do that at the very end. So even if you come just for the crafting piece and you come just to see what I'm up to and just to hear me talk and hang out with me for a little bit, and you skip out before the journaling, that's okay too. Like, you guys gotta prioritize what's good for you and what's good for your mental health. I just thought I would share this because, again, a lot of people have told me that they're dealing with loss right now, and also the person I'm talking about was a wonderful human being, and his story deserves to be told. So today was my holiday Christmas party with my coworkers. Not everyone was able to make it, so there are a few faces missing, and it was in a restaurant. So I decided to print the pictures black and white, and I used this layer template that I found it was in my stash, so I must have bought it somewhere else when I was learning how to use Photoshop. But I used this layer template, and it was a bunch of 6x8 templates. So I just used 2 6x8 templates and fit a bunch of photos in. And this is something that I did in Photoshop. It's really easy to use a layer template because you just put the photo on top of, like, you put the layer of the photo on top of the layer of the template that you want to fill the photo in, and then you just create a clipping mask, and it's super easy. The hardest part is resizing and figuring out where the photos go. But I just have a bunch of pictures from hanging out with my coworkers. And my thought process was to do like a triple flip. So I have this selfie that I took when I was at home before I went to the party. I actually shared a full-size picture of this, the full picture of this on Instagram because I was feeling pretty cute. So my thought process was to back my selfie with a tag and then have it fold out to house my journaling, because my journaling is pretty long today, and there was no way to cut it short and tell the story the way it deserved to be told. So a little bit of backstory, I guess, is what I'll do while I start assembling. I'm going to be doing a flip out, so nothing that you guys haven't seen before, nothing crazy. So I guess I'll talk to you guys while I'm working. So a bit of some backstory. In July of this year, my medical director was on his way to work from vacationing. Him and his family would go to the Hamptons every summer, and he was on his way to work, and there was a car accident, and he didn't make it to us. And that was traumatic. we are still recovering. And it's hard to explain to people like what it meant to me when you know, my boss died, because, you know, it's like, it's one of those things where people tell you, are you sure you're not overreacting? I mean, that was just your boss. But Dr. Leibowitz wasn't just my boss. I've been at my place of work for almost 10 years. And so at that point, your coworkers become family. And, you know, sometimes you end up spending more time with your coworkers than you do with your own family. You know, you work these crazy hours and you see these people all day and they become your family. And so when you lose one of them, it literally is like losing a family member. And with my job, because it's a smaller place, there aren't a lot of us. So we got to know, you know, you get to know everybody fairly well. Okay, I'm starting to realize that my sizing might be an issue here because these tags are not exactly 8 inches. They're a little short, but that's okay. So you get to know people fairly well. And so when you lose someone, it's like, I compared it to losing a limb. Like I felt like a part of me was missing. And that happened in July. So summer was really, really rough because, you know, you got to learn you have to figure out how to pick back up after that happens. And that happened in July. And then just today was our office Christmas party. And the Christmas party was weird because my boss wasn't there. And so, you know, it's like when you have these traditions and all of a sudden, like, people that should be there are not there, and it makes things hard and it makes things difficult. And I didn't feel like celebrating the Christmas party this year. I really didn't feel like going. My direct supervisor talked me into going, and I went. I'm glad that I went because it was nice to, you know, to do something fun with my coworkers. I really do love those people. And so I'm glad I went. And I did get a lot of fun photos out of it, but the entire time I was there, all I could think was that he was missing and that, you know, the party would have been better if he was there with us. And I mentioned it to, okay, sorry, before I keep talking. So here's how this is going to work. So this is going to sit like this, and then this is going to fold out, and then this is going to fold out, and my journaling will be right here. So I'm just going to keep assembling. So I have, like I said, I have this photo and I have the story tag. I'm going to go ahead and put my journaling here. And if I did my job the way I was supposed to, it should fit. It should fit perfectly. I think I sized it. I think I got the sizing right, actually. Yeah, so it's just awkward because, you know, you're missing someone. And if any of you have ever lost someone, you know exactly what it feels like when something's missing. And you can't really, you just have to deal with it. So the party was fun. I'm not going to lie and say the party wasn't fun. The party was fun. It is always nice to hang out with people that you know and love. Like I said, I've been at my place of employment for quite some time, but it was weird. It was weird. And so I wrote a letter to my old boss about how I missed him and how much I wished he was still with us. And I read it to a few of my coworkers, and we had a nice good cry session over it. And then I decided that was going to be my story for the day. Last year, when I was documenting my Christmas party, I ended up writing a letter to my coworkers themselves about the family we built. But this year, it's just a letter to the big man about how things aren't the same without him. So I'm just going ahead and assembling my bits and pieces. Like I said, I printed the photos. Just checking that out. I printed the photos black and white because, okay, so I scored this. I probably should have scored this after I folded it. I think my scoring is a little off. Nope, it works. I printed the photos black and white because it was in a dark, sorry, I'm just trying to make sure these lie straight. I printed the photos black and white because it was in a dark restaurant, and I knew that printing them in color wouldn't work. Like, I knew they would just be too grainy. Also, because I printed them really small, you can't tell like how fuzzy the actual pictures were, because it's hard. Like, I admire real photographers who do like cool things in dim lighting. I struggle with taking pictures if there's not like lots of light available. Like, that's really hard for me. Okay, so I'm just checking things out, and I think I do have to take a little bit of this tag off so it folds properly. So the thought process is, once this is all assembled, the photo will sit on top, and then the tag will be there, and then it'll fold out, and then I'll have my journaling. So I'm just double checking my measurements a few times. I think I got it this time. So let's see. Okay, so that's how that looks. So it's gonna be like that, which is just this big photo of me. And then when it folds out, you're gonna have this tag. And then when you fold out, you'll have the rest of the journaling. So I'm gonna go ahead and trim this down because the tag is a little bit, I'm pretty sure I printed this exactly at 8 inches, but the tag is a little short. So I'm just gonna even this up. Oh, and you guys get to see my new trimmer in action. It is quite nice, I must be honest. I don't know why it took me so long to upgrade to a newer trimmer. This one's really nice, and it cuts really like smooth, and I don't have those funky jagged lines. And I like having this silver guard. So I'm quite happy with my decision to upgrade my trimmer. So I'm just gonna keep working on my tag. I'm going to actually make a tag, so I just gotta chop this off. Also, I found my power punch, so I have been steadily finding my supplies. So I have a bunch of trim out on here, and I thought it might be fun to just mix the trim. So I have a black and white piece, I have a red piece, a green piece, and some gold ribbon. And I have a few other things on my desk that I'm gonna use to embellish this as soon as I punch my hole. I'm still trying to figure out how to use a power punch. It's relatively new as a supply to me, so it takes me a little bit of time to get it, but this punch is magical, you guys. It's just magical. Okay, so here it is. So I'm going to put 2 bits of trim in the first hole and then put 2 bits of trim in the second. So I think I'm gonna put this gold and this red in here, and hopefully I can fit both of them. So let's see how this goes. I'm back. So my multiple trim idea crashed and burned, and I abandoned it and just went with a piece of gold on top and a piece of black and white in the bottom. It was just the 2 trims I was trying to use was too thick, and they were just not cooperating. So the other thing I have for the front is this clear piece that's from the main kit, and it says stories from this December season. And then I have my 11 to mark that this is story number 11, not day 11 because it happened on day 12, but story 11. And I just realized that I probably have to staple this down, so I'm gonna have to lift this up and hope I can put it right back down after I lift it up without ruining everything. So I'm just lifting this up and stapling this down. So I put a single staple, that is enough to hold it in place. And then I'm gonna go ahead and put my 11. And this layout doesn't have a lot of embellishing because there's so many photos, and I thought it'd be fun to just let the photos speak for themselves. So I chose to keep it relatively clean. I think for me, this is a pretty clean layout compared to everything else I've been making. So yeah, I'm keeping this pretty tidy. I love that green against this black and white photo. So I'm just gonna go ahead and finish embellishing the rest of this. So the other thing I took out, these were from last year, these fun rubber pieces. So I took out some, this red one says December, this one says moments, this one says holiday. And then I have this one that says family, and these that say memories. And these are clear, they're not clear. They're a light gray, but I really, really like them. So even though they're a light gray and they might not pop as much as the red and the green, I really want to try to use them. So what I'm doing is I'm just putting them along the white lines in the layer templates and stapling them down. So I'm gonna put this green one that says holiday right here. And I think they're a fun pop of color against the black and white photos. And they're just, they're a simple embellishment to use. Nothing crazy, nothing like over the top today. I don't have the mental capacity it would take today to do something like that. And also, like I said, with all the photos, I think it would be better to just let the photos speak for themselves. Okay, so that gray one actually looks pretty good. So I'm gonna go with this one that says memories instead of the one that says December, since this is about remembering someone. So again, I'm just laying them down in the clear lines between the photos and putting a single staple through them. And that is how I'm embellishing this layout. Like, that is all I'm doing. I actually might add some trim. I have some red scallops trim that might be pretty fun. So I might add some trim. I'm gonna think about it. And then to attach them into the album, I have this paper. This is from the main kit. I just cut down some 1-inch strips of it and punched holes, and that's how I'm going to put it on the back side of the 2 pages I made, because it has to attach in here and go into the album. So that's how I'm gonna do it. So I'm just going to first stick down these red pieces so that the holes match up. Hopefully I did a good enough job. And then I'm going to just stick down the layer templates. I really can't speak today, you guys. Again, I'm just not in the best place, and I really just wanted to, I knew that if I didn't document this story today, I was going to find some reason to talk myself out of doing it, and I didn't want to do it. So that is why I'm documenting it today, even though I'm not at my best, because I needed to get it done. And again, those of you who are dealing with grief and with loss, I'm sure you understand that sometimes you have to feel these things and you have to like kind of work through it. And this is one of the ways I'm working through this. Even though, like I said, this happened over the summer, I'm still slowly working through it. All right, so there's a little bit of overhang. So I think I'm just gonna move this up a little bit so it doesn't hang off as much, and take off a little bit off the top and a little bit off the bottom, which means that when I size this, I thought this was sized perfectly 6 by 8, and it's probably like 6 by 8 1/4. But if it hangs off a little bit on both, nope, I can't seem to get it to hang off a little bit on both sides. So it looks like it's only hanging off on the top, which, you know what? Yeah, it's hanging off a little bit off the top and the bottom, so that's okay. That looks like, and then because the back of the photo paper is white, it doesn't look so bad against a 10. So here's one side. And, oh, before I attach this, I have to attach my flip up. So I'm just going to keep working through this. I'm literally workshopping this as I go today. I did not have like a trial run to make sure that this was going to do. I didn't have a trial run to make sure this was going to do what I wanted it to do. I'm 100% making this up as I go. Okay, so yesterday's layout was a little bigger. So day 10 was a little small, and yesterday's layout was a little big. So this might actually work out for me. We'll see. Yeah, it's a little big, which I guess is the downside to working outside the page protectors if your pages don't always end up the same size. But small imperfections like that don't, I'm out of tape. Small imperfections like that don't matter to me so much. And again, I might just add some trim to the bottom of the page, and if I add some trim, that will cover that up. So I might actually just do that, add some trim, just because the bottom of the page is hanging out a tiny bit. So just refilling my tape. The day I went to Michael's and bought my paper trimmer, I also stocked up on like 1,000,000 rolls of tape because I'm almost always out of it, and I wanted to make sure that I was not going to run out in the middle of working on a day. That's actually happened to me before. I've run out of photo paper in the middle of working on a day, and I've run out of tape in the middle of working on a day, and none of those are fun. All right, so I'm just going to go ahead and finish assembling this the way it's supposed to, and then I really do think I'm going to go with the trim. So thank you for your patience with me on documenting day 12, even though it was day 11. I guess a lot of you were right. I didn't make a mistake. I'm just working a little bit out of order. I really did want to use that fun hexagon page that I made. I liked the way that looked so much. And I like having, like I said, I like having my holiday playlist in my album. It's definitely one of those tradition things, and if I didn't do it, I would miss it. So I'm glad I went for it, even though I already had a music story in my album. And it was just a really easy and fun page to put together. And I love the flips. Like, flip ups are my favorite thing to include in my December album. So I love okay, that actually, I have no idea why one side of the page is so much wider than the other. I'm wondering if, yeah, having pages outside the page protector is wild when it comes to matching things up. Because these are the same size, but that means that my day 10 page was considerably bigger than my day 12. Yep, yeah, you can see my day 10 page was considerably wider than my day 12 page. Which again, I don't mind so much, especially since I'm using the red as a way of tying it together. It's just quite funny when you look at it and you see like how different it is. I like having the different size pages in the album, and having this red paper was a really easy way to fix that. So I do think I'm going to add some trim because I don't want to cut this off the bottom. So I'm going to go find some trim and I'll be right back. All right, friends, so I'm back. So I did go ahead and add this red trim. I got this from Target in the dollar spot sometime last year, and it's just this fun red scallop. It feels like felt more than ribbon. So I added some to the bottom side just for some texture, and I like that it covered the extra hanging space, but I might have to snip this off because now this blue is hanging out the bottom. So I'll fix that later. And then the other thing I added was this hexagon chipboard that says sometimes this season is just tough, because it really fit, and I like the green with the green because I have some red, but I just needed some way to integrate the green. And again, the sentiment was perfect. So if you've made it this far, thank you so much for hanging out with me. I'm sorry. I don't know if it's worth apologizing, but I'm sorry I'm not myself today. If you're used to like happy bouncing Tashi, she will probably be back sometime tomorrow. But I needed to get this story in the book. This was an important story to tell for me, and I'm glad that I got it in, and I'm glad that I got it in the way, like today, while it was fresh and while I was feeling what I was feeling. And I think even with it being a sadder story, like I think it came out like a really cute spread. I have this cool selfie, I have this flip, and then I have my journaling, so it's a fun element. And then I have these fun pictures of my coworkers. So if I don't always want to deal with the words, then I could just flip out here, and then I have this cool spread. So if you made it this far and you're gonna run away before I start crying, that's perfectly okay. Thank you again for hanging out with me. I will see you for day 13, which will hopefully be a happier story. But if you want to hang around and listen to me talk about my boss, who was a wonderful human and who I will always remember and I will always be grateful to, then I'm going to read my journaling now. And fingers crossed I make it through without completely losing it. So here we go. It says, Dear Dr. Leibowitz, I have missed you so. Some days I wonder if you're watching us from wherever you are, watching this ragtag crew of people you believed in, people you saw greatness in, people you had enough faith in to train and teach and groom into something strong and great and new. I do not have the words for what I owe you, for taking a chance on a 20-year-old girl with no skills or anything to recommend her besides a big brain and a willingness to work harder than she ever had. You said yes to me when other people would have said no, and created opportunity after opportunity for growth and change. And when I decided to go back to school, you promised me that work would never be an obstacle to my education, and that there would always be a place for me at BESC. You checked in on me and my family and my home when things were rough, and you celebrated right alongside me when I achieved more than I ever thought I could. I am ashamed to say that I took you for granted. I thought you would always be there, the soul of our practice, the heart of our home away from home, that when you didn't come back from the Hamptons that Monday morning, I didn't know what to do. I kept looking for you, and I still keep looking for you, and it is unfair and hard and beyond reason. What then can I say when you were cruelly taken away from us, from me, a star burning so brightly, then flickered and gone in a matter of seconds? What then can I say when I felt your absence so strongly at this party, when we all sat around waiting for your dry speech and your droll sense of humor, ready to make small talk until we'd all had a few drinks and could breathe and relax a bit? What then can I say when there's another sitting where you should be sitting and doing the things that you should be doing and changing the direction of this facility that you built with your bare hands and carried across your broad shoulders for so long? What then can I say besides I miss you, and we all miss you, and we would do anything to have you back? I would do anything to have you back. I bet you already knew this, but this rough and tumble crew has bonded over your absence, and we are here and we are growing and we are creating space to keep your memory alive, and we love you. And we show up every day to keep this thing you built going. We laugh and we cry and we talk about you and we laugh some more. I wish I had told you, but you were smart and you were a great businessman and an excellent boss. But above that, you were good and you were kind. And I think whoever made us broke the mold when he made you. Thinking about you is like poking at the space a tooth should be, or picking at an open wound. I know it will hurt, and I know how to avoid it, and yet I find myself doing it all the same, and I cannot imagine I will stop anytime soon. I want to remember you. I want to remember how you used to make fun of my brightly colored hair. I think the blue was your favorite. And how you would always catch me dancing by the copy machine to the music only I could hear. And how you would find me venting at my cup of coffee and just shake your head. And how you made me feel tall and scared and smart and a tiny bit spacey and warm. And I want to remember what you did for me. To you, it may have seemed like a series of small things to maximize an employee's potential. but to me it was something that I still cannot explain. I hope you look down at us every now and then, and I hope you smile, and I hope you rest, and as much as I want you back with us, I'm confident that you are in a better place. So tonight I'll have one extra drink in your name. I despise red wine, but for you I'll suck it up, and I'll smile a little bright at my coworkers, at my friends, at this family you threw together, bonded by love and loss and what comes after both, because I know that's what you would have wanted. And I'll hug them all a little tighter, and I'll laugh a little louder, and I'll treasure your memory, sharp and dry, but still so tender and so warm, in the space between my heart and my chest, and I'll wait until I see you again someday. So, that's my journaling. I want to encourage any of you who have lost someone or who are feeling like, I can't speak. I'm so sorry. I want to encourage any of you who've reached out to me and told me that you're dealing with loss or you're dealing with grief to get those feelings out and to feel all those feelings and to work your way through it. I am so much better now that I've gotten those words on paper, and reading it sucks and it hurts, and I imagine it will keep hurting for some time, but it helps me remember him, and it helps me remember what he meant to me, and it helps me remember that these people, all these silly faces in this photo, are my family, and they're my family because he threw us together, and we're better for it. So that is all I have today. I hope that tomorrow will be a better day. I imagine tomorrow will be a better day because I'll sleep on this and things will be better and brighter in the morning. But it was really important to me to get this story told. And again, if you made it all the way through, thank you so much for hanging out with me. Thank you for holding space for me. Thank you for being gentle with me. And to all of you who are dealing with something a little bit harder this December, I just want you to know that I'm thinking of you. And I'm here for you. And if you ever need a place to like vent or just chat, my inbox is always open. So I'm going to skedaddle and go make some tea and sleep this off, and I will see you tomorrow. So till next time, keep it crafty, friends. Have the best day and happy December. And tonight, if you can, hold your loved ones a little closer and love them a little harder. And, you know, everything will be a little bit better tomorrow.